Happy Friday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by Goose Island, the official beer of CHGO. Find one of their Chicago locations at gooseisland.com/locations. Thanks for being here. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Hope you're having a great Friday so far. Make sure you smash that like button on YouTube for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel as well. Podcast listeners, make sure you're subscribed or following on your favorite podcast app. And leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That would be greatly appreciated. And before we get into new Blackhawk Corey Perry, who spoke today, Greg was there. We want to tell you, in case you missed it yesterday, about the inaugural, not first annual, the inaugural CHGO Kickoff Classic Golf Outing. That is Friday, August 25th at Cog Hill. Yes, the Cog Hill is letting us tear up their courses and leave divots everywhere and balls lost in the woods and everything. But CHGO and the Big Drive Energy Podcast and Pins and Aces are hosting the Kickoff Classic. Again, that's 9 a.m. on August 25th. You can sign up as an individual, a twosome, or a foursome. Go to allchgo.com, navigate over to the events page, and you can register right there. Your entry fee includes 18 holes with a cart, an exclusive Pins and Aces tee gift for every player, access to a limited edition Pins and Aces CHGO Polo, whole contest, great giveaways and prizes for contest holes, winning teams, and last place. So I do have a chance at a trophy, and lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round. You can always, of course, sponsor a hole or the entire tournament if you'd like to. More info there at allchgo.com. And if you are a diehard and you plan on signing up, you have to email events@allcitynetwork.com to get that diehard promo code to save on the event. So before you place that order, diehards, send an email, events@allcitynetwork.com, and they will send you the promo code to save on the golf outing. This is going to be a lot of fun, fellas. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm stoked. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yay, golf. Woo, yay.
Outside, yay, nice weather, yay, camaraderie. Camaraderie.
Man,
I mean, you guys are not big golfers, but I am frothing at the mouth at the opportunity to play at Cog Hill, like a place where they actually let PGA golfers play. It's not often an opportunity for most people, so I'm definitely excited for it. And yeah, if I shoot 120, who cares?
Yeah, who gives a crap?
I shot 112 there at it was like the media event for after the BMW Championship. So like we got to play Dubs Dread, and we actually got to play it in their conditions.
Oh wow! All right,
that was humbling. But
so I have to beat Lawrence's 112 then.
Yeah, I mean we're not on Dubs Dread, so I hope we can do better than that.
Yeah.
I also haven't swung a club in a while, so we'll see.
Do they have a mini golf course?
There's a putting green.
Wow, I could do that.
There you go.
Your hole. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good time. So allchgo.com, navigate over to our events page for all the info on the Kickoff Classic Friday, August 25th. Should be a great, great time. And when you consider everything that you're getting in that package, it is a great freaking deal, diehard or not.
It costs over $100 to play there anyway. So I mean, you're getting quite the deal.
Yeah, it's a hell of a deal. All right, Greg, you were there. You pulled Corey Perry duty since you made it happen. You were at the Fifth Third Arena this morning. What did we learn from Corey Perry?
Well, Corey Perry is not going to tell you, like, he's not sugarcoating anything, and he's not beating around the bush. He's quick, he's to the point, but he's going to tell you the truth. I got someone, a friend of mine who covered him in Anaheim for a few years, reached out to me via text message the other day and said, you guys are going to love covering him because he's going to be a great quote. He's always going to be available. He doesn't really speak in cliches so much. He's going to tell you the truth. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, he was there. He's in the area searching for a house, and they've decided to have him stop in and speak face to face as opposed to Zoom. And he had his young son with him, already rocking the 94 Perry Blackhawks jersey. So that was pretty cool. So
Nice.
yeah, he basically, you know, he said pretty much everything you'd expect him to say, but he wants to be here. You know, Still has plenty left in the tank to what what he says. He said retirement was never a thought. Obviously, that past relationship he had with Luke Richardson was a reason why he wanted to sign, and that could be a good a starting point. Got a few sound clips. As I said, he's short to the point, so these aren't very long sound clips, but he did speak about Luke Richardson being here and his past relationship with him in Montreal and why that was a factor in him signing in Chicago.
He's a tremendous person, first and foremost, and the wealth of knowledge he knows of the game. And we met in Montreal, and here we are again. It's so I kind of understand his philosophy, where he thinks, and the expectations that he has and puts on his players. So I'm excited.
I mean, we saw it with Max Domi. Last offseason, Luke Richardson's got away with players that makes them want to come back and play for him, and especially in Chicago, there's an opportunity for a lot of these players to get some playing time. So yeah, I like that. I like seeing that from other guys around the league, that who you have as a head coach makes your team a destination.
Well, now they've got, first you had the city going for you. Then, Max Domi last year reveals, like, okay, you got the coach going for you. Players like the coach. Now you've got Connor Bedard as another attraction piece for free agents to come. So, we were kind of joking about that list that guy on Twitter had about the GM tiers and how Kyle Davidson was in his own tier at the top of the list. And I wasn't quite ready to say that yet, because we haven't seen him really have to go out and acquire legitimate talent, right? He's been good at using some cap space to take advantage of some things and this and that. But like, when it comes time to win that key free agent, that's what we need to see what he can do. But now with all these kind of things in his corner, it's going to make it easier. That's for sure. The sell now in Chicago has become easier than ever before. And I think it was never really that difficult in the first place, even when they weren't, supposed to be a good competing team.
Yeah. And Corey Perry talked about his years coming here and playing in the United Center as a visitor, and now he's looking forward to doing that on the home team. He's, everybody mentions the anthem and how that gets you going. And he said, when you play at the United Center, you're here for a hockey game, from that opening notes to the anthem to the final horn. So he said he's looking forward to being on the side that they're cheering for. And for many years, as we see, and every Corey Perry tweet or reference, people think for Blackhawk fan warm to Corey Perry. I mean, he was asked, he relishes the role of being a villain. He does, and he enjoys it. And he was asked if he, I think Phil Thompson asked him if he ever runs in the hallway, is it going to be awkward? He's like, no. He says, me and Nick Foligno, when I was in Montreal and he was in Toronto, him and Foligno had a big go at it and a nasty fight. He said, we're over it. We're teammates now. That's what happens in this league. You have a heated playoff series, you have a heated game, and then you move on, because you never know when a guy's going to be a teammate. But he did talk about, he was asked specifically about being an enemy to fans in Chicago, and he addressed that as well. So that was actually one of the first questions.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's kind of been everywhere I've gone in the last few years. It's been that way, but there has been some heated moments myself against this team, and but I'm happy to be on this side and excited to see where this season goes.
Yeah, I mean, he knows. You could tell he takes pride in it, because he smiles. And look, like, all those guys who play that role of agitator, they love it. They love being hated, because you have to have a certain kind of a mindset for it. Like, not everyone is built to take the derision of every fan of 31 other cities in the league night after night after night. But Corey Perry seems to relish it. And like we said, the moment the signing, actually before, when Greg suggested maybe they do it, the first thing we said about him was his teammates love him. His teammates seem to love him, and he's still playing. And if he was that big of a pud at 38, he wouldn't be in the game anymore, right? He's still effective. And yeah, he's putting up points, not like he used to, but he is still an effective player in a bunch of ways. And I think his versatility and kind of what Luke talked about with him the other day, of his willingness an ability to be like another coach on the ice where he's going to work with a player, but he's not necessarily going to hold a player's hand, right? It's going to be, hey, what was the who was the player he used as an example? It was a defenseman. Was it Romanov? Somebody?
Yeah.
It was like they were doing deflection drills and Romanov was shooting the puck too high, and Corey Perry just said, "Hey, wait, I want it here to here. Over my head isn't helping me at all. Down too low isn't helping me. Put it in this window." And like a coachy, not in a dickish way, but in a, hey, like cut the crap, like think logically here.
Mm-hmm.
Put it where I can deflect it, where it's not going to be a high stick. And those little things, like sometimes that tough love is needed, and you need that leadership to just kind of like, instead of worrying about, I don't want to hurt this kid's feelings. Corey Perry doesn't care about that. He's like, let's go. Come on. I've been a winner my whole life. I'm going to teach you how to be a winner. And I think it's great.
Yeah. A guy like Perry is like having an extension of the coaching staff on the ice. I mean, you have a guy who's been around the block more than once, and a guy who's won a Stanley Cup, a guy that's played in big games, a guy that has played against tough opponents. He's played tough against everybody. It's someone that you like to have on your roster, especially with a number of young players and guys that are, getting their NHL legs under them. Obviously, Connor Bedard is one of those players. Lucas Reichel is still one of those players, even though as NHL ready as he looks, he's only had less than 30 NHL games played. Same thing goes for a guy like Alex Vlasic. Like, there's definitely that extension of the coaching staff on the ice, in practices, in games, in the locker room that you like to have with players like that. It's something that you see a lot at the AHL level, where you get, grizzled veterans come in and they're in a locker room with a bunch of, early 20s players. And it's that kind of similar role of like, look, guys, like this is what it's going to take to move on as professionals. And when you get to the NHL level, those guys still kind of need that messaging. So it's awesome to see, Perry is going to fit that role, even given his background and, what he's done against the Blackhawks before. I think as soon as the season starts, as soon as there's, opportunities for him to stick up for teammates while wearing the Blackhawks sweater, you're gonna, the first time Connor Bedard takes a borderline hit or a dirty hit or whatever, and if Perry's on the ice, he's gonna go and protect him, and you're gonna have 20,000 people at the United Center cheering for Corey Perry for doing that. And it is going to take some getting used to cheer for Corey Perry, but I think it'll quickly turn into that sentiment where it's just like, it's a guy that 31 other teams hate, and if he's on your team, you love him. So I appreciate that Kyle Davidson has an eye for what this team needs, and isn't letting anyone besides himself and his his management group to make that decision. He's not, if he took fans' consideration into it, obviously Perry wouldn't be here. But I think, he knows the roles that need to be filled on this team, and I think he has a good eye for who can fill them.
Yeah, I mean, look, if he was going by fan consensus, there's not a lot of places he could play, which means which means he's done his job his entire career. And I think like somebody like Rafi Torres aside, right? When you think about guys like that just irritate the hell out of you as an opponent, it's usually because they're pretty damn effective. When you look back on the Canucks rivalry and the Boston series, like Brad Marchand is a pest and a pain in the ass. And guess what? A great hockey player. Ryan Kessler was a pest and a pain in the ass and a great hockey player. Going back, Theo Fleury was a pest and a great hockey player. Andrew Shaw was a pest and a good hockey player, right? Like it goes on. And that's Corey Perry is maybe like the most accomplished example of a lot of those guys because of the MVP and the winning and the teams he's played for and the impact he's had on these teams. Like, it's so funny when Greg brought it up the other day, we all kind of laugh and say, oh no, but then as soon as you start to think about it, it makes a ton of sense. And, as we were talking about the coach on the ice factor a little bit, I think there's a different feel, and I think all of us have played sports at different levels, but there was that feeling of not wanting to let down coaches are one thing. Like, you never want to let down your coach, but sometimes the coach has like a bit of a parental feel to it. And you're like, whatever, I'm tired of hearing from you. You're never going to be happy. But to let down, one of the better players on the team or an accomplished guy, like, you don't want to mess up, not because the guy's going to be a jerk to you or yell at you or anything, but you just don't want to be the guy that lets the team down. And I think when you have a presence like Perry and Foligno, and two different personalities, right? Both are tough players, but Foligno is real gregarious and talks a lot and all that stuff. But both in their way have their presence. And I think that goes a long way with not that young guys are going to try harder because they're there, but I think just having another ear and another set of people saying, hey, make sure you're doing the right thing here, it's going to help in the development a lot.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Greg.
Corey Perry mentioned that today. As
I think we lost Greg, but it sounds like he's setting up another cut here. If you got it there, Lawrence.
Talking about leadership and overseeing some of the young players and making sure that each guy is carrying their weight.
It's not so much for me on the ice. It's away from the rink. It's in the dressing room. Just being a good teammate. Just trying to help him with day-to-day stuff. Just trying to make sure he knows what to do, where to go. Be on time, all those kind of things. And then the on-ice stuff, just it'll take over as the season goes.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're talking about. It's just setting an example. And I think a lot of guys talked about it this week at development camp, where character is certainly something the Hawks are looking to bring in. And it seems like they're all sort of checking that box so far early in their careers. So I'm not overly concerned that like there's going to be guys that are slacking or setting a bad example. But he said, like, being on time, it matters. And Corey Perry's not going to walk into a meeting 20 minutes late, because if he does, then everybody else is going to be like, oh, well, this must not be important, right?
Yeah.
He's going to set that tone as the veteran on the team, the most veteran guy in the team, and say, this is how we do it. This is how it's done. If you want to play in this league till you're 38 like I am, do what I do and follow my lead.
Yeah, and I think you're in a position where you have a couple guys that can bounce that message around the room. A guy like Taylor Hall, a guy like Nick Foligno. You have Corey Perry there. You already have guys like Tyler Johnson and Connor Murphy and Seth Jones, and these guys that have had some pretty substantial NHL careers and have all been in leadership roles before. So yeah, I mean it's a locker room full of guys that we keep going back to this notion that leadership wanted, Blackhawks management wanted leadership in the locker room to organically grow, and doing so with guys who have been in those positions before, but haven't with the Blackhawks, allow everyone to kind of be on an even playing field and say, hey, just because you're Connor Bedard, you're the next face of the franchise, doesn't mean that you can go around and just do whatever you want and get away with it, because guys like Nick Foligno and Corey Perry, they're also here, they're also pulling their weight, and they are doing what is expected of an NHL player, and you have to meet that level. Just because you're Connor Bedard doesn't put you above anybody else. Just because you're Taylor Hall doesn't put you above anybody else. It's all a very even level that these players are on. Even the longest tenured Blackhawk is what, Connor Murphy, and he's been here five seasons, I think, maybe 6. So that's not a long time, and that's I think that's a good atmosphere to go into for this upcoming season, and where you want these young guys to get to. You can't have them coming in with guys up on pedestals like Taze and Kane. You got to make sure, even as much as those two could have tried to make sure everyone's on the same level, it wouldn't have worked. There would have been guys deferring, guys letting not being able to step up and have that kind of role or grow into it. So I think it's the right move to kind of have everyone on a pretty level playing field when it comes to being a part of the locker room.
Well, it's funny you mentioned like guys, no one being up here and the rest of the guys down here. You're getting that attitude from the oldest guy in the team in Corey Perry and the youngest guy in the team in Connor Bedard. and you've got the guy who's expected to be the next face of this franchise and kind of already is before even taking a face off, already has been said every time he's spoken this week. It's been, I'm just a guy. I'm just another guy here. I know there's more attention on me, but it's not about me. It's about the team. It's about my teammates. And all the teammates have said he's gone out of his way to make sure we're all together. And there is no Connor and everybody else. And I know that we sort of maybe naturally think of it that way because it is kind of like that. We talk about the tiers, right? There's the Bedard tier and there's the everybody else tier, but he's not looking at it that way. And it feels like his teammates don't see him that way, which is great. So I just really like the way, like when Greg set it up last week, after sleeping on the Corey Perry thing, it's like, yeah, something like that makes a lot of sense. And who knew it was going to be the actual guy,
Right.
Yeah, it's my turn to have the internet gremlins this week. They moved from Mario's house to my house, but hopefully, wave if you can hear me. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we got you.
All right, but he. I really like the makeup of this team right now. I don't know if you guys went into it, but like the bottom six right now actually is a threat to score a goal every once in a while. You couldn't say that at any time last season. When you have, and no offense to these guys, but like Reese Johnson and Boris Kachuk and Jujar Kara and Mackenzie Entwistle and Colin Blackwell, where are the goals coming from? Now you at least have the threat of guys who could score. Foligno can still put a few in the net. Perry can still put a few in the net. It slots guys like Cole Gutman down to the bottom six who could be productive. So like you actually might get some scoring from not a lot, not a ton, but after the low bar that was set last year for secondary scoring, defenses will actually have to be aware, when the third and fourth lines are out there, as opposed to last year where it was kind of like, okay, let's wait for Colin Blackwell to fall down and take it the other way down the ice. And Corey Perry, he's been in the league forever. He's 16 years ago he won the Stanley Cup as a rookie. 07 was that? So
yeah,
long time. And he talked a little bit about today. He's still got plenty in his tank, and in fact, getting bought out by the Anaheim Ducks 4 or 5 years ago really energized him to kind of say, "Hey, you guys are wrong. I still got plenty to go." So he talked about what kind of fuels him entering this season, in addition to playing with an up and coming star like Connor Bedard.
Never liked hearing that we're going to go in a different direction, and that's kind of been the fire that's lit me. And I heard in Anaheim when they bought me out, so it's something that fuels me, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
I mean, you got to take it. These guys take it personal when they get bought out.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, I'm still getting paid. That's great and everything, but that hurts. Like these guys, they earn those big deals that have to be bought out. Most of them have earned most of that money, and to just have a team say, "Yeah, you know what? We're just going to pay you to go away." That sucks, and that's really got to hurt a guy like Corey Perry. But it's worked out for him since then. He's done pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he's been able to find a home in multiple places and find a role, and now he's got an opportunity with Chicago, and I'm very interested in what his objective is this season, because obviously there's a role he's going to play here, but is it to be here all year? Is it to try and get flipped at the trade deadline? Because I wonder, when you get to the trade deadline, what is the market for a guy like Corey Perry? Is he as desirable at the trade deadline for a contending team as he maybe would have been a few years ago? It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the way he plays this upcoming season is going to dictate that. Last year we had Max Domi and Andres Athanasiou come in on 1-year deals that were very flippable at the deadline. Domi played well enough to get flipped, and Athanasiou I thought would have, but the market wasn't there. So it's going to be interesting to see what his objective is, because this team he's been cup chasing for the last few years. This team isn't going to be doing that. So it's interesting the kind of, what his path might be with the team this year. If he plays all 82 games or the full season in Chicago, is he going to be happy with that? Like, I think it's something that I would like to get his thoughts on, maybe closer to when the season is underway or already underway. It's kind of a tough question to answer on July 7th.
Yeah. Hey, where do you expect to be traded? Welcome to town.
Right. Yeah.
Give him some recommendations for cities he gets traded to. Trying to leave the press conference. Yeah. Well, it is Friday, Mario, and we got to tell people how to get ready for Friday.
Yes.
Very, very exciting.
Many ways to get ready for a Friday. One of the best ways that I have been told to get ready for your Friday is to visit your local Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, because it is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It's a one-stop shop for all of your cannabis needs, no matter where you are on your cannabis journey. Easy online ordering and in-store pickup is available. It's great, transparent loyalty program for Sunnyside called the Sunnyside Rewards Program is also available to customers there. It is Illinois' favorite dispensary, from city to suburb, Wrigleyville to River North, Champaign to South Beloit. And how can you argue with some of the great products that Sunnyside has in their house brands? You got the Mindy's, the best tasting gummy and chocolate edibles created by James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs. Again, talking about Cresco, the reliably excellent cannabis, consistent quality, experience, and availability of flower, vapes, concentrates, and pre-rolls. You have the High Supply, which offers quality weed that's always available. Buds are expertly grown, lab tested, and available in vape carts, vape pens, flour, popcorn, shakes, pre-rolls, shorties, and concentrates. I don't know what some of those are, but they sound great, right? Through August, head to sunnyside.shop and use the code CHGO25 at checkout. When you do, you're going to get 25% off of your total order. And that code is one use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. But that's not only for new customers. Anyone can use that code. You can pick up everything you need to elevate your Fridays this summer or any day with the Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Of course, you must be 21 or older or an Illinois medical card holder.
And speaking of cannabis, college.
Yes.
I went to college at Lewis University, and
Nice.
You can too, because students just like you with full-time jobs, families, and full-time sports fandoms are going back to school to earn a respected degree at Lewis University. They're 35 miles southwest. I could say we're 35 miles southwest of Chicago in Romeoville, and we are ranked as one of U.S. News and World Report's top-tier colleges. Lewis, we partner with numerous employers for tuition discounts and offer evening, online, and blended formats to help you balance work, family, and education. And their faculty brings real-world experience and instruction to the classroom, which is immediately relevant to your career. You're going to hear from experts in the field, not just some professor who read a book about it. We offer career support and academic resources for all adult students at Lewis. If you're looking to complete your bachelor's or master's degree or enroll in a professional certificate program, Lewis has the right program for you. Lewis offers several career-focused programs that will set you up for success. We're just going to highlight one down here. I had a bunch of friends come out of the criminal justice and public safety grad program. They're first responders. They went back and received 20% off their tuition, and tuition was deferred for them for 6 weeks after the end of each class. That is still available for you. And of course, there's all the great undergrad programs too, like computer science, aviation maintenance technology certificates, business analytics, criminal justice, business programs, and tech programs to discover how a degree from Lewis can help you build a better world. Learn more at lewisu.edu/you-can-do-this and be a flyer like me. And bed check Charlie there on your screen. There he is.
Give us a like or he will check your bed.
Keeping a rubber eye on you.
Okay, so Corey Perry, right? We had
Yes.
some fun with Corey Perry. Twitter is having some issues with Corey Perry. Should we just and also our chat. Should we just take 2 seconds to air our grievances with the internet today?
Sure. Go
Okay.
for it.
Hey, you ever seen a Blackhawks jersey? Yeah. Their colors are red, white, and black, and their stripes are red, white, and black. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
Freaking idiots.
they seem to all be from different fan accounts, different fan bases. Go outside and smell a flower, you jackwads. Like you're just idiots, just absolute idiots.
It's yeah. Oh my God, it's the internet. It's the internet being stupid. And you know what? What's really disappointing is there's people who are not just dumb Twitter idiots. There's people who are in the hockey world, in the hockey online community, making the same stupid like observation. Like, oh, it's like I tweeted as just a picture of a Connor Bedard jersey. Look at the Blackhawks jersey. If you have never seen one before, you idiots, and understand what their color scheme is and what their design is.
Yeah.
So stupid.
It's not, it's, you know, it's people looking for stuff. It is what it is. And as we proved yesterday that we know Corey Perry fights against those things, not stands behind them.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, he defends the honor of this country and not the enemies thereof. And Greg, as you said off the air, I don't know if you want to say it on, there are actual Nazis on Twitter that you can go give them what for instead. So instead of wasting your time on a picture of a hockey podium, maybe go find some real Nazis to take care of,
or
right?
go find a life.
Yeah, that too. All right, addressed.
Yes.
Good?
Addressed.
Okay. So Greg, you mentioned how the bottom six is dangerously looking competent all of a sudden for the Blackhawks. And we went over this yesterday, but I know some folks probably missed it. Shame on you if you did. Ben Pope took his stab at the lines, and this is the first time I'd seen him in print, and they don't sound awful. Your first line, Bedard, Taylor Hall, and Taylor Radish, 2 Taylors and a Connor.
Sure.
You've got Lucas Reichel centering Kurashev and Athanasiou. Jason Dickinson, the birthday boy, centering Donato and Tyler Johnson. And Cole Gutman centering Foligno and Perry. I mean,
I'm fine with that.
Pretty decent lines. And I think that fourth line of Gutman, Foligno, and Perry probably would have been your second line last year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So
yeah,
they're looking good. I mean, not good, but they're looking okay.
it is NHL quality 4 lines, which we couldn't say last year. There were guys who this season are going to be pushed down, scratched, maybe sent down, maybe traded because they don't have an NHL home here. Who knows? But there are guys in that position this year were 3rd and 4th liners last year. So you have an NHL competent forward group, which you couldn't say last year. And that's why, we elaborated on it yesterday. That's why I feel like this team is not going to be quote unquote tanking. I think they're going to be in more competitive in more games than they were last year. So we could be talking about 30 wins and having some actual fun.
Yeah. And I think, regardless, obviously the lines are going to fluctuate throughout the year, but this actually gives Luke Richardson more flexibility than he ever had at any point last year, because you had like 5 guys that could play top 6 roles last year, and that might put a pressure on a guy like Taylor Radish, who was cemented in the second line, because who was really going to challenge Taylor Radish for a second line spot behind him? But now there's guys that could take that spot away from him if he's on the top line or the second line. That's going to change. But when it's Reese Johnson and Mackenzie Entwistle, the options to put up on a scoring line, you're kind of safe as long as you produce every once in a while.
Right
now, you can move Taylor Radish to a third line and have more effectiveness down there, or whatever. There's more options for Luke Richardson, and he's not going to have to rely on just the Connor Bedard line. That's going to be the line that's going to be out there when the game's on the line, tie game, 1-goal game late. He's going to get those guys out there as much as possible, but you don't have to rely on those guys all night to get it done. You know, I personally would have Radish down on the second line with Reichel and Athanasiou. I think his size and ability to make space for those two guys' mobility is a good combo, and maybe put Kurashev up with Bedard and Hall to kind of give you that, you know, a really sneaky, underrated passer and playmaker in Kurashev, who's also one of the most defensively responsible forwards on the team. I think that's a good mix. And then, you know, the bottom six, you can just kind of plug and play, move around. You know, you put Tyler Johnson with Foligno and Perry, and put Gutman up, you know, with some of those other guys. You've got options, and you can play the matchups a little better, something Luke Richardson couldn't do. So I think Luke Richardson's going to have, you know, a better year this season behind the bench, because he's not going to have, you know, Patrick Kane, Max Domi, you're on the same line, and then I got 9 guys that all do the same exact thing, so it really doesn't matter where I put you. He can actually be a little more creative and play matchups more.
And I think, you know, we talked to Kyle Davidson this week about the center situation and how they don't really have any like definitive centers, but a lot of guys that can do it. And that's going to help Luke too, because all right, in a pinch, he can move Tyler Johnson to center, or even Kurashev can play a little bit of center. Like if Lucas Reichel is struggling, there's options to jump in there. Even like Nick Foligno has played center. I think Ryan Donato has played center at a time. So there's a lot of guys with the ability to do both. And kind of like a utility infielder, you think, well, if you're not doing it full time, you're probably not great at really anything. But at the point where the Hawks are now, having guys that can move around spot to spot, position to position is super valuable, because I really do hope they give Reichel that look.
Yeah.
Center first. And then if it turns out like, all right, he's just not a center, you can move guys there. Then you put him on a line with Bedard, and then boom. But it's funny as we kind of like daydream about this. I know we got all summer to do this, but it's just kind of on my mind now. Like if Bedard is what we think he's going to be, and we could probably do the points over under at some point, get closer to the season. But you know, if he's in that 60 point or above range, and then you've got Reichel like in the 50s, and if Kurashev can take another jump, maybe add 10 more points, all of a sudden, like things are looking up, because you know Taylor Hall's going to get his goals because he's going to be playing on the line with Bedard. Radish now won't be like he was for much of the season last year, like the main point of focus on his line. Yeah. So he's going to be freed up, and he's going to be, you know, guys will be taking attention away from him. So you could see some big offensive years from a lot of guys on this team. And then all of a sudden, like we said the other day, the Hawks gave up 21 empty net goals last year, right? Second most in the league. Well, if you win half of those, right? Let's say you're ahead in those games instead of behind, it's 20 more points.
It's a big swing.
All of a sudden, that's a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, you know, look at the options that they have that could play center or play wing, play top line, play third line, fourth line, whatever it is. Look at the guys, you know, Jay, go back in your file. Look at some of the guys that played on the power play last year. You had Jujar Kara and Mackenzie Entwistle playing power play time. We're not going to run into that this year. Even if Corey Perry and Nick Foligno find their way onto power play units as, you know, bottom six guys, at least they've done it before for different teams. They've done it before in their career successfully. Kara and Entwistle, I don't know if they'll ever play another NHL power play. So you look at what the change in the lineup, you know, the additions that they've made and where they're going to be at, it's going to make a difference. And I think it's, you know, as much as, you know, the competitiveness of this team and the versatility of the team that we saw last year, I think you have Lucas Reichel here, you have Connor Bedard here. The options open up, and you know, the ability to have more fun. I want to see what Luke Richardson does with the X's and O's, because he's got a couple guys here that he had last year in a very simple north-south system. He's got some NHL veteran guys that have played in some, you know, have played long careers, that have had success in those kinds of systems, have success as that is part of their game. But now he's got a guy like Lucas Reichel, who his game is opening up, his creativity is opening up at the NHL level. You have Connor Bedard, who has nothing but potential in his creativity in the NHL level. I'm excited to see what Luke Richardson does offensively with his scheme. Does he keep it very basic, very simple north-south like we saw last year, or does he add some flair to it? I think that'll be interesting to see what happens.
So you mentioned the document where I called it Remember When.
Yeah.
Do you want the day of the McCabe and Lafferty trade with Kane sitting out, or do you want the day of the Max Domi trade? Which lines do you want?
Was the Max Domi trade the last move?
Yes.
Let's do that one.
All right. So Reichel, Athanasiou, Kurashev,
Okay.
Gutman, Johnson, Radish, Dickinson, Cini, Gust, Kara,
Cini.
Kachuk, Anderson.
Brett Cini and David Gust.
That's your third line.
Yeah. Those guys are ice hogs.
Yes. The day of, let's see. I think this is the day Kane was traded. Power play 1 was Domi, Radish, Kurashev, Tyler Johnson, and Seth Jones. Power play 2 was Athanasiou, Gutman, Gust, Ian Mitchell, and Caleb Jones.
David Gust on an NHL power play.
Yeah. Hey, he earned it in last year's vacuum of a season. He earned that with what he did with Rockford and the opportunity that was clearly there in Chicago.
Right place at the right time for David Gust.
Yes.
Nothing against him. No. But as you mentioned, kind of piggyback on what you're saying, Mario, first, like Corey Perry played a lot on Tampa's second power play unit. He's a guy that he'll go to the front of net and stand there. He doesn't care, cross-check the crap out of him. He's not moving. And while he may not be the skater he once was, he may not, have the tools that he had as a Hart-winning trophy, player, he can still shoot. He can still stand there and bring the puck very quickly to the net. So he'll definitely be on the power play. He'll get a lot of time on the power play. And as far as like Luke Richardson adding more caveats to his game plans, I think we'll see that, because I also think, unlike last season, this roster is pretty much, maybe outside of one or two guys, it's probably going to be the roster for most of the season.
Yeah.
Like last season, you really couldn't get too crazy, because by the time a guy would want to learn it, he's on another team, and you got to teach it to, another guy coming in from a trade or from Rockford. So now I think with this team, I think outside of, maybe Foligno gets traded at the deadline, maybe Perry gets traded at the deadline. Other than that, I don't see a lot of like for sure, no doubt trade guys. So I think you can get a little more creative, knowing that, hey, I'm going to implement this, and if it takes 10 or 15 games for you guys to really get it going, it's fine, because I have you for the whole season.
Yeah.
And Taylor Hall, remember, has a year left after this one, so he's not going to be a trade deadline.
Yeah, he's not getting traded this year.
I don't think so.
Yeah. And I think, maybe this year too, like if they are sniffing around a wild card spot, maybe they're not so enthusiastic about trading Foligno or Perry for a 5th round pick or a 6th round pick just to do it. Like Kyle said before the draft this year, like we've got a lot of draft picks. There comes a point where you almost have too many. Yeah. And what are the odds that 6th and 7th round picks shake out? So why not, as a reward to the guys who stuck it out last year and sucked it up and fought hard through 82 games, like say, hey, we're not going to sell at this deadline unless we are absolutely out of it, and put the onus on them and say, hey, if we're in this thing, we're not just going to sell. We're going to, it's different if some team says we're going to give you a 2nd or a 3rd or something for Corey Perry or Nick Foligno. Mm-hmm. Then you start listening. But for the sake of it, I don't think you have to do that this year, hopefully. So it'd be nice to have a full 82 without just thinking ahead to the trade deadline the whole year, which is basically what we did last year.
Right.
Tank standings and who's going to get traded. And we had very little time or really need to focus on what was happening in the games because they were so damn meaningless. I'm really looking forward to a meaningful season again.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that is the case. And I think a lot of these guys, last year, guys coming in here on 1-year deals or tradable contracts, wherever they were, whatever position they were in, I think that was the goal. I think it was come to Chicago, get an opportunity you weren't going to get anywhere else, make the most of it, and get traded. And for a team that is clearly tanking and in a rebuild, Blackhawks are still in a rebuild. I don't think they're tanking. I think the mentality is going to, the air around the organization is going to be much different than it was last year. Last year, at prospect camp, it was Kyle Davidson and Luke Richardson speaking to the media, first time, first going into their first season as full-time GM and full-time head coach. And there was, the questions to Davidson about tanking, and then questions to Richardson about, coaching a tanking team. And it was kind of that, like, it was lighthearted, but it was like, well, Luke Richardson was saying, I'm going to make it hard for the team to tank because I'm trying to win games. I don't think that's going to be the air anymore. I think, I think the mentality of the organization is going to be, we want to see development. We want to see young guys take steps. We also want to be competitive in each game. And the more that they do that, the better. So yeah, I think, you're not going to be looking at too many guys that are, counting down the days till, their first week of March. And they're like, oh, I can't wait to get my bags packed and get out of here. I don't think we're going to have that atmosphere this year. And I think that's going to be great for everybody. It's going to be great for the guys in the locker room. It's going to be great for the fan base. It's going to be great for us. It's going to, we're going to have more fun covering games. We're going to have more fun talking to coaches and players. We're going to have more fun talking with fans. I think it's going to be more, our post-game shows, we can actually be upset over some losses because we'll have expectations. And I think that's just going to make it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, there's nothing wrong with having young guys like Bedard and Reichel and some of these young defensemen come up here and get a little taste of success early on in the career. It's contagious. It's addicting. When you win some games, you want that feeling every night. And, people are already stressing out. Oh, we got to get another top 3 draft pick. No, we don't. It'd be nice. It sure would be nice, but you don't have to go get a top 3 draft pick again this year. So if you finish with the 8th or 9th or 10th pick, it's fine. Like, getting Connor Bedard was the ultimate prize. There's nobody in next year's draft that's going to be even close to what Connor Bedard brings to this franchise. So if you win 10 more games than you did last year because Connor Bedard and Lucas Reichel are blossoming into stars, that's a really good thing.
Yes,
don't freak out over it. Like, it's okay if the Blackhawks draft 12th next year. It's okay. They've got multiple first round picks, multiple second round picks. Again, each of the next couple of seasons, they've stockpiled a ton of great prospects coming up. It's okay that the Hawks will finish with the 7th worst record in the league. They're not making the playoffs. Nobody's predicting a playoff run here. Just saying they may be in the conversation for a wild card spot till Christmas or January. But winning games with young players is never a bad thing.
The Blackhawks had, going into the draft, 6 picks in the first 2 rounds. They made 5 of them, one of them being Connor Bedard. Heading into the 2024 draft as it stands right now, they have 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. There's no need to hand wring over not getting a top 5 pick in the first round next year, because as it currently stands, you got 2 swings in the first round at least. So if it's, the other pick is Tampa Bay's, and that ended up being the 19th pick this last draft, which turned into Oliver Moore, who shouldn't have been at 19, but he was. So, let's say Tampa, they're not the Tampa that the same team that they were 2-3 years ago, where they were, definitive cup contenders, a lock to be in the Eastern Conference Final, anything like that. You might be talking about another teen, late teens, early 20s pick. And if the Blackhawks pick 8th or 9th or 10th or 12th, if you have something in that range and the 19th pick or the 20th pick or whatever, that's fine. You can package that and move up. You can make both picks. Getting Connor Bedard gives you a lot of leeway. So if they're not picking first or second or third next summer, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we haven't been shown anything over the last 2 drafts, trust Kyle Davidson and the scouting staff. Whether they're picking first, 5th, 15th, 65th, 105th, whatever the pick is, trust them. They seem to be doing a pretty good job right now. And granted, none of their draft picks have played a game in the NHL yet. That will be erased on opening night. Mm-hmm. But it's coming. Like, you see it, everybody, it's not just the Blackhawks. In past years, it was the Blackhawks trying to tell you that these prospects are going to be good. Now it's everybody else telling you these prospects are going to be good. It's not the Blackhawks saying, hey, look, Ian Mitchell, he's going to be really good. best college defenseman I've ever seen. He's going to be really good. No, it's every other independent scouting prospect guy saying Kevin Korchinski's the real deal. Frank Nazar was a hell of a pick. Oliver Moore was a steal. It's not coming from the PR office. It's coming from the people who are experts in this field. So, like, let's not freak out over winning games next year. This team isn't a Stanley Cup contender. The rebuild is not over. This is a year of development. This is a year of playing games that matter. You have your franchise cornerstone here. So let's get him some success early. But what I mean by success is not going and getting the second wild card and then getting swept out of the playoffs. It's putting together a couple of 3 or 4 game winning streaks during the season. It's going out and scoring some game winning goals. It's not the end of the world if the Blackhawks have the 7th worst record or 8th worst record, because they probably still will. Because we're talking about they actually have some threats to score in the bottom 6, but they're just threats to score. There's no 30 goal scorers coming, outside of Bedard and maybe Reichel. No one's putting up 30. No one's doing it. Like, it's fine. They're a threat to score. That's different than being like, a legit scoring line. Last year, there was no threat to score. So they're still going to be not great. And guess what? In case you're worried, the goaltending still is kind of a whole lot of meh. So even if you score 4 goals a night, you're probably still going to lose a lot of games because, let's face it, Peter Mrazek, hot and cold, and then hurt. And then Arvid Soderblom looks great at times and then not so great at other times. Are you going to have to put Jackson Stauber in there for a few games again this year? Maybe, because I don't trust Peter Mrazek to be healthy all season. I don't think the Blackhawks do. So it's okay. I'm not spending the whole season freaking out about wins and losses. I'm going to enjoy Connor Bedard game-winning goals. I'm going to enjoy a Corey Perry game-winning goal, just so I can relish in my prediction a little more. So, yes, it's okay. The rebuild, we're not declaring the rebuild dead. There's a long way to go. But the Connor Bedard addition doesn't mean it's not life or death to have a top 5 pick next year. It's okay to be 6th or 7th.
Yeah, and you're also going to have a defensive group on top of, in front of the goalie group. You're going to have a defensive group that is mixed with, some solid veterans like Seth Jones and Connor Murphy, but also has Jared Tenorti and Nikita Zaitsev. And likely you're going to go through some growing pains with guys like Alex Vlasic, Isaac Phillips, Wyatt Kaiser, and maybe even Kevin Korchinski. So you're talking about a defensive group that, is probably going to be a little bit better than next year, or could be astronomically worse if the young guys aren't coming around the way that you hope, which is, I guess, better for your tank standings. But you want to see development. The most important thing you want to see this year is not wins and losses. It's development in the young guys. And if the development in the young guys is going in the right way, then you're probably also seeing more team success, because I don't think anyone doesn't have faith in the veterans that are on this roster to play the roles that they're expected to play. I think it's going to come down to, what do the young guys do? Do the young guys stay stagnant? Do they take steps backwards, or do they take steps forward?
Yep. And Greg, you mentioned, maybe they finished with the 7th worst record. They got Kevin Korchinski at 7 last year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Quinn Hughes was 7th overall?
Yeah. Lots of guys have fallen. Like, it's okay. Be more focused on who's making the pick than where the pick is made. We keep seeing Zadina's name in our chat. Where was he picked? 6th?
Before Quinn Hughes.
And this is my favorite part of NHL off seasons, is when people become obsessed with other people's garbage. Like, whoa, we should get Zadina. No, he sucks. You know why nobody picked him up? Because he sucks. Let's move on. We've got guys who can suck. We've got plenty of guys already in our organization who can go out there and suck for a little money. Why add another one?
Yeah.
So to say.
Is he the new Alex Galchenyuk or Nail Yakupov, where teams just
he might be.
He's going to figure it out.
Well, I think the reason that he was passed over in waivers is the story coming out of Detroit is that he wasn't going to accept any recalls or reassignments to the AHL, which is a breach of his contract, which is a one-way deal. So I think that's why no one wanted to pick him up off waivers, because of his 2-year, $1.8 million and change contract. And if he didn't pan out at the NHL level, you have him on the books for 2 years at that money, and you have a player who's not going to report to the AHL. It's a much bigger headache if that becomes an issue. So now that he's gone through unconditional waivers, contract is terminated. Now you could give him a less than $1 million 2-way deal, whatever. And that way, even if he says, "Oh, I'm not reporting to the AHL," you can still send him down there, and it's not a breach of contract.
Eric has a comment in the chat that says, "I agree with Greg. However, McKinnon needed Makar, Stamkos needed Kucherov and Point. I still rather draft in the top 5 versus winning 8 more games this year." Braden Point was the 79th overall pick for the Tampa Bay Lightning. In case you forgot about that, Nikita Kucherov was 58th overall. So, yes, they do need those guys, but they're not always coming in the top 5, top 3, whatever.
Yeah.
You can find really good players later in the first round. Where was Duncan Keith picked?
The second round.
He was all right?
Yeah. Andrew Shaw was a fifth round pick. Brandon Saad was a second round pick.
Where's Dustin Buffin picked?
He was picked in a round that doesn't exist anymore.
Right. How about Alex DeBrincat?
Second round.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to find guys all over the draft.
Yep. So don't freak out about the draft position, because we have a general manager who has a scouting staff that's going to get the best player available no matter where they pick. I have faith in them, and maybe in a couple years, if none of these guys pan out, okay, then I won't be as optimistic. But I think a few of these guys are going to pan out pretty good. The signs are there that a few of these guys are going to be legit NHL players.
Yeah,
in a few seasons.
Yeah,
definitely. The future is bright, as they say, Greg.
Yes, it is. And I have just a thing for things that are bright. They're called Shady Rays. I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about these things before, but these are like some really cool, independent, polarized premium sunglasses that help you take on the warm weather and the sun, because it's gear built to last. Shady Rays is my favorite independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair I've ever worn. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't wear a lot of expensive pairs. That's why I love Shady Rays, because they give you the expensive look and feel without it feeling expensive in your wallet. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by their lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on the very first day, they're going to send you a brand new pair, no questions asked, and it's going to get to you quickly, like within 2 days quick. So they don't mess around. Plus, together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. with the Shady Rays Impact Program that's doing everything from building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing adults with MS. The outdoor adventure of a lifetime. Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and into the future. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, but you're totally going to, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There is zero risk when you shop over at Shady Rays. And speaking of ShadyRays.com, head on over there and grab this amazing deal. Put 2 pairs or more of their awesome Polaroid shades in your cart. Use the promo code CHGO. You're going to save 50% off. The more pairs you buy, the more you save. And you can finally try for yourself the shades that 250,000 people and Charlie the Bacon Guy have given 5 stars.
Speaking of Charlie the Bacon Guy, fellas, Thursday is the day.
Oh, yes.
It's Charlie the Bacon Day at the CHGO studios.
I saw him post on social media today something called French toast bacon.
I've not tried that yet, but hopefully
I hope that will be there on Thursday.
I saw that and I was aroused.
Yeah. It definitely did move.
Charlie will be there. And I don't know, Lawrence, I don't know if we need to tell everybody. I think Charlie's bringing bacon for 20, but we don't need everyone showing up like when the Hawks used to bring the Stanley Cup by the offices and like, oh, you work here? I've never seen you in my life, sir or ma'am.
This is a secret bacon day.
Let's see if there. I'm hoping there's a lot of remote shows on Thursday's schedule.
Or bacon for us.
Yes.
We're looking forward to seeing Charlie, that's for sure. And we're looking forward to seeing you, good people, at our CHGO Crosstown Series takeovers. Cubs, White Sox, Suckfest. July 26th at 7:10 p.m.
The mid-off.
The mid-off via Guaranteed Rate Field. We're going to have a gathering there, Section 529, pregame meetup at 4 at the Carrig and Oak Forest. And then they'll be shuttled to and from Guaranteed Rate Field. Again, that's July 26th, Cubs at Sox. And then the Wrigley version is August 16th, White Sox at Cubs. Wrigley 705, Section 425R, pregame meetup at 5:30 at Bar TBD. I think that's on Clark. We'll let you know. Each person just comes with a new CHGO baseball shirt, south side or north side, based on preference. Shirt and size will be chosen at checkout and order confirmation. Let's see which fan base is more diehard and sells out the takeover first. Gee, I wonder.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, allchgo.com is the place to get your tickets.
We'll see. It'll be it's gonna be a fun time.
Yep.
It's good reason to get out to the ballpark in summer and hang out with us and see professional baseball.
That's technically correct.
Yes. They are getting paid professional wages.
Yes. All right. Everybody have a nice weekend. Everybody have
Hold
fun.
on, Jay. Don't forget. We have to tell the good people about the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yes.
We got this crap ass baseball.
Yes. You know, poor baseball is not efficient, but ComEd is. Their program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities that they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
Yeah, I remember you talking about this before, and I think what you said was ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across their territory, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They also offer free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
Your memory is not failing you. I think keep that train rolling. Tell the people how it works.
Let me go. I believe you used to say an authorized engineer would work with me to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to my goals and needs.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And they're in person or virtual?
Both, yes.
And then within 3 to 4 weeks, I would get a report detailing energy efficiency projects that I could start working on immediately. And I'd also get estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, and potential incentives and simple payback. And I'll tell you, like, I own a business. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. That's Monergy, what we call it in the old country. For energy saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to and write down comed.com/poweringbiz.
comed.com/poweringbiz. Got it.
You got it? Everyone got it?
Wrote it down.
Schedule your assessment today. All right, we are back on Monday, and fellas, the off season has begun.
The real off season. Yeah.
Yes.
It was fun. It was fun.
Good run.
Shall we
everybody?
Yeah, shall we open the mailbag?
Absolutely. 100%. Write us CHGO_Blackhawks. Do that for sure. Thumbs up on the way out.
Yes.
Do that for sure. Email blackhawks@allchgo.com with your questions, and we'll get to most of them on Monday.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what the questions are going to be, because
draft and free agency is over.
Free agency's over for the most part.
It'll be our first mailbag in a long time where we're not asked what we have to do to get that 11th pick from Vancouver.
Yes. Maybe we can still trade up. Who knows?
Maybe.
Repetitive. We'll have to determine the new repetitive question for this.
It's gonna be Zadina. Over under and how many Zadina questions we get. I put it at 2.5.
I'll take the over.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna wrap
if he's not signed over the weekend.
Yeah.
Please,
Thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate you. Again, smash that like button on the way out. Go to allchgo.com for info on the Crosstown Takeover, and of course the inaugural CHGO Kickoff Classic Golf Tournament at Cog Hill. Come have some fun with us. We have fun with you. We appreciate y'all. We'll talk to you Monday at 2 on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.